time that video plays, I have that video on my phone. I watch that stuff all the time. What's going on, everybody? My name is Ian the Roadrunner Robinson, as I've been designated, and I am with a very special guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Because every time I mentioned it,
listen, man, let me stop you right there. You're gonna look at you, pretty boy. Gone and got yourself a tagline. Look at you, got you a name. Some people are coming up on me. Look at you, the Road Runner. Isn't that fresh?
That's it, man. That's it. You know what they say about the coyote and the road runner? You ain't
I don't. Because I stay trained. I stay fit. I ain't got no time for television. Let me ask you a question. Now go ahead. The one and only, once again, look at my backdrop. Look at all my things.
Oh, yeah.
The coyote is here. Oh, first of all, Ian Robinson. Yes. I want to thank all the people at home and around the globe for all the kind work. I don't even know how it happens, but you know, because they got the message. They got the message. The villain is thrilling. They're gonna come over to the dark side because I knew they would. I tip my hat to all them little villains all around the globe look at little pups. What you got for us today? Let's go, they say up in the tagline, right? Alan Dumont. You got yourself a name. I can't believe it. They got you.
Yeah.
All right,
you know, I didn't choose this name. This came up because I say in that last promo, you know, we had a.
I got a bone to pick with him. I got a bone to pick with him.
Yeah. All right. You know, so I was like, hey, beep beep, we're gonna
pencil neck announcer. Where's that? Now, hang on a second. People are probably watching this feed like I am and imagining themselves. I'm here with Ian. Where's that other Jezebel and Sally come lately? That grandstanding fellow colleague of yours, Paul Gabriel. We are hiding from the coyote. That's where. Let me put the words in your mouth. He's not hiding because he knows, as I said, on Friday, the challenge was put forth. Here we are, 12 Pacific Standard, Pacific Daylight Time, whatever you want to call it. Ride the wave. I showed up and he didn't.
Oh, we're gonna have to remember that because I don't know where he's at. He might be training. He might have some secret meditations happening right now to keep up with you. But yeah, so what do we have, you ask? What do we have? Well, we have some new things to announce today on the actual website. So if you are already excited about coming to the ZBrush Summits and you went to the ZBrushSummit.com website, then you might know that we have a few different things to talk about today. And first and foremost, presentations. So we're going to go over and just really quickly talk about in real time the fact that we now have announced presentations of what's happening. So, you know, Thursday, September 28th from noon to 3:30 Pacific Standard Time or PDT. I can't remember which one. It says PST, so I don't know. We have the ZBrush Live Sculpt-Off.
Let me stop you right there. Hold on a second.
Go ahead,
PDT stands for Pacific Dog Time, and that's just what you're getting is the dog himself.
That's it. So we have the ZBrush Live Sculpt-Off. So if you are already thinking about registering or you are registered, this is the time in which you're going to be competing for top dogs. So definitely make sure you're signed up, and we have some more information on that.
Take the time there. Hold on a second. Show them that little button right there. Register to compete. Right down on the bottom right there. You want to click that button. You want to follow that little button, put your information in there, and participate. You see?
Yes.
What it's all about. There's the form.
Yep.
You know,
and you're going to want to
people come up, Ian, a lot of people come up and they asking the question, how can I be like the coyote? Coyote, how can I be like you? The first thing is you stay sharp, you stay ready. And how do you stay ready? You follow the form and you put your information in there and you sign up today.
That's it. So you put your name in there, you put your fun little email like this. You pick at
you will call yourself awesome.
I'm going to. Yeah, I am awesome. Everybody here is awesome. What are you talking about? If you're an artist, you're already watching this, you're already awesome. Go ahead and pick your channel, make sure, and then also to make sure to put your username there.
Good point.
So make sure that all this is done. And when you're ready, go ahead and just hit that send application, and then you're good to go. You're all set. And also too, just make sure you read the rules and all that good stuff, which we covered last week. So if you missed last week's stream, you're going to want to go ahead and do that stuff right there. So that's going to be day one.
That's right.
All right.
But make sure, hang on a second before you flying through here you really are the road runner, man. That's why they call you that. We need to pull you back in here, keep you reined up. Let's talk about it for a minute. Go slide back up on there. Don't make me come in there and out of the room and see what you're all about. Going up in there, the Live Sculpt-Off sign up page. Now listen, like I said, the villain is thrilling. The one and only, the Alpha and the Omega. The light shines brighter over here. But here's the thing. Don't be afraid. Sign up today. You can do it. You sitting there. I know you're sitting. I hear you. I see you. I know who you are. Hitting them likes, watching the world go by. Don't watch the world go by. Be like the coyote. Sharpen them balls. I want to see you. Sign up today.
Get up there. Sign up. Absolutely. I also have a few people saying hi, and they can't handle the character. They can't handle you, Coyote. And that's awesome.
To handle. You're lucky I'm sitting in this chair right here with the hardware on my shoulder. I stand up. I show, like I told you in the promo, you got the social, and down below is the media. You ain't want no part of that.
That's it. That's it. All right. So let's go through some of these presentations so you know what to expect. Again, ZBrushSummit.com to get all this information. But Friday, September 30th, the day after you guys do your Sculpt-Off, and while the judges are in the background secretly looking at everything, making sure all is good, we have a few presenters. And right now we have a Making of the Colossus presentation done by Michael DeFeo. So if you are familiar with his work, you're not going to want to miss that. That's going to be really awesome because he does a lot of stylized characters as well. And he's also covering all the way to have something ready for 3D printing. So this is going to be a really fun event. All of these are going to be super amazing. So you're going to hear me say that a lot. So if I get repetitive, beep, beep, that's what we do. It's all good in the hood. And then we're going to be following up with Xander Smith. He's ZBrush Fundamental Skills for an Artist Future. So you're going to want to go ahead and check him out. He's presenting that day as well. Again, I could go through and read everything, but definitely come here and check it out because there's so much information that is happening, and we're just dumping it on you real quick, fast, and in a hurry. And then we'll be taking a 30-minute break in between presentations because we also are going to have a lot of stuff going on outside. More of that is to be announced, but you're going to have an opportunity to network with a lot of people, have conversations, see ZBrush in action, and some few other stuff. So more on that.
You never know who you're going to meet on the grounds of the Noman School of Visual Effects inside that Shadow of the Hollywood sign, myself included, walking around there. You never know. The greats of all greats will be showing up from all over the world. They come flying in for this thing. So we are very delighted to be back in person and be live or in the flesh again. Take it away, Ian Robinson. Next up with Gentle Giant.
Absolutely. Well, we also have we have a couple of to be announced, so stay tuned. You're going to want to come and refresh this. So we do have another one that we're hoping to announce very soon. And then we have Gentle Giants, who obviously big collectible company, a lot of action figures, a lot of statues, a lot of fine art, and they have an amazing presentation coming up. So you're going to want to check that out. Believe you me, that's going to be awesome. And then we got some Street Fighter. If you guys know me, I don't know if you guys know me, but if you do, I'm a Street Fighter nut. I've loved Street Fighter since I can remember.
What you got?
This is a loverless controller. I also have, hold on one second real quick. I also have my trusty arcade stick.
Okay,
I might play Street Fighter. So if you guys play Street Fighter, you may
like the shopping channel up in here. What you got there? Street Fighter.
So Street Fighter is in the house.
Nakahira is going to be there, and Tagaji. Here we go.
Yep. And they're going to be explaining Street Fighter 6 and how that was created and using ZBrush workflows. I'm super pumped for this one. I'm pumped for all of them. Again, I'm just going to say that. If you saw the summit last year, do you remember the summit last year, Coyote, when the smile on my face just didn't stop? That's pretty much where we're at. I'm always excited to have all these presentations come through. And it's so neat because, we even in the professional setting, we still tend to learn from each other. That's what makes artists so special, is that we grow and we learn from each other. And these presentations have so much to offer. So I'm even saying last year, I was so impressed with the way that things were sculpted and how detailing happened with the eyes. This year, there's just so much happening. So if you don't, I'm already excited. But we got Street Fighter, and that's going to conclude the first day. So that's already day one, and I'm already pumped. And hopefully you guys are pumped as well. Then we have Saturday, the 31st of September, and we're hitting it off with Steve Wang out the gate. If you guys don't know Steve Wang,
legend.
Stop what you're doing and just Google real fast Steve Wang, because that will tell you everything you need to know, or just click on his name.
The man hang on. I said, you're running through here. You really are moving quick, man. What they got in that coffee cup of yours? The man is a legend. The man has been at it for a long time. He's done some of the world's most favorite characters and creatures. If you don't know, like you said, get on there and find out, because he's going to be here doing the big thing. I expect that one to be a capacity crowd. The Coyote and Steve Wang in the same place. We'll even give you a nod, Ian Roadrunner Robin, so you'll be there too. You get to see that glint and the shine off them lights. Look at that, man. Steve Wang going to be there. Don't miss that one.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be super awesome. And then we're moving straight into character design for entertainment industry using ZBrush with Furio. And if you don't know Furio, he does a lot of hard surface character design and a lot of ZBrush workflows. Super impressive work. His work is world renowned as well.
Transformers.
Yep.
Call it out.
Transformers, baby. You know it.
3 time.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what. If you don't know, 1, 2, 3-time champion, 3-time digital Sculpt-Off champion, ZBrush Sculpt-Off champ, 3 times.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, he's taken
Not
the
a
belt
joke.
3 times. So no, not at all. So definitely somebody to look at their work as well. And then moving on forward, we have AFA again, which is the American Fine Arts Foundry, and they're going to be coming in and doing a presentation with how they make bronze statues, which is amazing, especially since they do a lot of workflows from ZBrush into the final step, which is bronze. So there's a lot of steps in between. We had them last year, and they're coming back this year to go a little bit deeper in that process. So that's going to be super amazing. And then we're going to be rounding off with a 30-minute break.
Hold on a second. Just a minute. I'll give you a break right now, Ian Robinson. Angel Mesa. And I noticed your little friend popped in on the feed as well. We'll get to him in a second. Trying to hide from me. Angel Mesa from the AFA is going to be one of our special guest judges, joining the likes of, and this is an auspicious event because we have against all odds, we have collected the world's finest. We have the Shiflett brothers out of Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. We've got Chris Sickles, Red Nose Studio. If you missed it last time, we announced them judges. Angel Mesa now coming on board for AFA. And the last one is a big surprise. I ain't going to tell you one thing. I'm going to announce that later on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yep.
I want to welcome. Now let's give a good, here he is, the garbage man himself, the one and only Paul Gabriel. You got something to say for yourself, boy? You're hiding out, come late. Johnny come lately, as I called it, and here he is.
I was busy picking up all your trash, all that trash talk.
Like I said before,
I had to pick some stuff off the floor, and that's called comeback. Just, picking up my bag of ghetto to throw right back at you.
Did you get it, though? Sally come lately, and here he is, late to the party once again because the shine off the belt has got him blinded. Okay, carry on there.
Beautiful. Yeah. We did. All right, real quick. Just so you know, I do see a question about ZRemesher hard surface settings. Don't worry, we're going to be getting into some questions, and I'm sure because Paul was so late to this that he will lead off with a fun little ZRemesher tip trick setting for you. So don't you worry. Don't worry. We'll put him to work since he just showed up. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Listen, it's not my fault. My agent told me different times.
That is true.
That's your agent's way of keeping you hidden from the truth of what's about to happen to you on that green screen hanger. I want to show some.
I had a lot of trash to get through.
I got a shout out to Elamino. He's asking a ton of questions in the feed right here. He wants to know about VDMs allowed and all kinds of other things. We're going to get to that shortly.
You know it. All right, beep, move it along. We got Diablo 4, and I know from my Twitter feed and half of you who are following me, you guys have been playing Diablo 4 as much as I've been playing Street Fighter. So this is also another one you're going to want to check out as well. Again, super excited. This is the one game that I have ready to go after I get enough of Street Fighter to come straight into here. But I see a lot of fun and excitement coming of this game, so you're not going to want to miss how this game was being put together. We have amazing, talented teams showing up as always to come in and present. And then moving along just really quick because we only have so much time. We got Overwatch coming in and explaining the character creation pipeline, which is going to be super, super amazing. So again, like I said, everything's amazing to me. I just love it all. And then we have practical utilization of digital sculpting in Final Fantasy 16, if I can read Roman numerals correctly. So, man, there's a lot of Final Fantasies. I just realized that.
So something special too about that. I'm not going to let it out of the bag. I got a lot of surprises lined up for you people.
You do. Yeah. You're holding in the bag there. So, and then that's going to go ahead and round off Saturday. And then last but definitely not
Hold on a second, man. Just a southern moment right here. You need to sip you something brown in that cup.
It's water right now.
A southern moment and rather than a northern moment.
Let me tell you how it's going to go, man. Here's what's up. On Saturday, because you're about to skip over the most important part. If you are here physically, you might get a chance to touch the hardware on the shoulder of the man himself, the Coyote. There's going to be the traditional ZBrush Summit after party happening live on the grounds inside the shadow of the Hollywood sign. So if you're courageous enough to show up in person, I might even break some bread with you.
Ooh, all right, all right. And then Sunday, like I said, last but not least, October 1st, starting off the month with a bang. We're going to go ahead and have Ming-Xin coming in and doing a presentation right out the gate. It starts at 11 a.m. And then from there, we're going to be
moving in. She's actually up. But FYI, she is up for an Emmy.
Woo!
Her work.
Pay homage where it's due to the artist. Let me.
So you're talking. She's the one that did all the Last of Us TV show credits, many other things. She's up for an Emmy for that.
Which is awesome, awesome. That's why you're here, Paul. That's why you're here. Give all the gems.
I'm bringing all the garbage.
That's not garbage. That is awesome information.
When I say garbage, I mean just a lot of information about ZBrush. Continue on.
Back it up. Back it up. All right. So then we're going to go through with Henry Cervanka, who's going to be pushing the boundaries of ZBrush. So another hard surface modeler, does a lot of vehicles. So we had Furio, who's going to be doing hard surface with characters, and you got hard surface with Henry. And you've already seen some of his work. So if you followed us this year alone, when we announced ZBrush and Redshift in the same bridge, we used his vehicle. Special thanks to him for allowing that. And he came in we just showed off with some of his amazing work. So again, if you're into vehicles, if you're into that type of hard surface technique, all that 100% done in ZBrush, including the Redshift render. So super amazing. I want to check that out. He's also running a workshop, just saying that too. Same with Furio. Hold on a second. Furio and Henry are also running a workshop. So you're definitely going to get a lot of information from those two specifically. So check that out. We're going to get to workshops, man.
Are you ready now?
I'm ready. I've been ready.
We got a lot of workshops going on that people need to know.
We do. We're almost done with presentations.
It's a very, very rare chance. We're going to get to that. But I want to say Henry Cervanka, not an accident that he's been brought here to push the boundaries just like the rest, just like the one and only. That's my kind of guy right there. You got Furio Tedeschi and Henry Cervanka in the same place as the Coyote. You know it's going to be a good time.
You know it. You know it. All right. And then we're going to go into creating the characters and machines of Horizon Forbidden West. So another great, amazing team coming in with some heavy hitting information and how they utilize ZBrush in that workflow. So again, just a lot of great stuff. Then we're going to take another 30-minute break that day. Well, that'd be the first for that day before we move straight into Avatar to round off the final presentations of that day. So again, if you've seen Avatar, if you like Avatar, any of that stuff. Again,
are you excited?
Oh, I'm super excited. Are you kidding? Every one of these presentations, I am super excited for. No matter how much I love, I'm just telling you, I love watching artists work, and I love working alongside of artists, and there's always something to learn. If you're an artist like me, you just always are ready to learn something new because you don't know it all, and you want to just dive in with that knowledge, take a big bite of that apple. And for me, this is just, I can sit here all day and just and engage with presentations because there's just so much info to cover. And you can watch the same presentation 100,000 times and still learn something new, which is, I still watch presentations. I still watch Paul Bennett's presentation years ago when he was talking about articulation. That's how I learned articulation, was from that presentation. Watched him work like 20, 30 times and then tried it myself. So these presentations have a lot of information for people to come through and start learning. So
that might be one of the smartest things you ever said. You ought to take a look at my highlight reel. You learn something there, that's for sure.
All right. And then we're going to be wrapping up the summit, of course, with the ZBrush team, because we're always going to be showcasing something that's coming. And we can't say what until the day of. So if you want to know what it is, you got to show up. And then we announce the ZBrush Sculpt-Off winners to round off the year and just, again, just high five everyone and just come in with just a spectacular way to end the show. So that is the presentations. Yes, you know, Coyote, you can
I
have the
just
mic.
need to interrupt you as much as possible to keep you moving slow. Here's the thing.
I'm the road runner, baby.
we work closely with the AFA, and we're going to be giving away yet again another monstrous prize to the grand prize winner for the Sculpt-Off. For those daring enough to reach out and put their foot forward, they're going to have a chance to get their piece immortalized in bronze.
Oh, yeah.
One more time. We did it last year. We do it again. That is not a small thing. That is not a small thing. We're talking about a market value of over $10,000 worth of bronze. You get to take the hardware home for yourself. You too could have a piece of hardware.
Yep. So that is the presentations. Now, before we get into questions, again, I got a few things I want to show. I'm sure Paul has a few things he wants to show. And of course, we want to answer your questions as much as possible. So real quick, fast, and in a hurry, as the Roadrunners are known for. Again, come register, which we covered earlier, but you want to go to ZBrush Summit, Sculpt-Off. And then from there, workshops. Again, like we mentioned last week and mentioned again, we have a bunch of workshops, and they are selling. They are starting to go, and it's first come, first serve. So if you want to come through here and actually get yourself a workshop, these workshops, by the way, are only available during the summit. They're not going to be online. They're not going to be resold or repackaged. This is first come, first serve, and you get to have essentially a small classroom size, because it's only 15 seats per class, to come in and actually work with some of the greatest artists of ZBrush. And they're going to be walking through a lot of how they do. So if you want to get into food, you want to get into illustration, comic book style, hard surface, you want to get into game characters, the Joseph Druss, just stand out there. We get, we have Michael Pavlovich doing the same. We got more characters and posing, but this time with actual real illusion. And to note, with Pablo's class and Michael Pavlovich's class, realillusion.com, if you guys don't know, they are actually the creators of the character Creator 4, which helps with posing. And if you sign up for those, you'll also be receiving a free copy of Real Illusion's character Creator 4 as well. So you're going to be getting some bonus if you sign up with that as well. So that's check that out, especially if you're into games and film. And then, of course, too, concept design film games. We have Furio again running a workshop. And then we also have, Michael DeFeo sold out. So that's it.
You can forget about it. You're not getting to see with him.
Prototype. It's done did happen. So
that's like trying to touch the coyote on the flesh. You're not going to those hands off me, man.
Yep. And then, of course, we have Anna Carolina coming in with ZBrush Unreal 5, speed sculpting models in ZBrush again, and another game and VR and AR artist who uses Unreal Engine. So if you're trying to get more of that information, definitely check out these workshops. Again, they're flying off the shelf. So first come, first serve. And you might be asking, okay, great. You might be asking, well, I want to go there, but what does it cost? Well, it's free for you to show up. All you have to do is come over here and get yourself a registration. It's a free ticket. Look, it says free. Boop. Get yourself a registration ticket. Come on in, show up, give us some high fives, hang out, and also too where we'll be located. So it's at the Phenomenon facility.
Whoa. Whoop. It's not. It is not said like that. It is located on the haloed grounds of the green screen hangar at the Noman School of Visual Effects, inside that shadow. That's for all you shadow dwellers inside that shadow. Notice how the light just changed when I said that. All the shadow dwellers inside that shadow of the Hollywood sign at Cahuenga and Santa Monica in the 90038.
That's it.
But before you go any further, sign up, get your tickets. This is serious business. This is the moral and the lesson of the story for you, Robinson. Are you listening? Gabriel, I got my eye on you too. Hesitation is the dance partner of failure. To all the people out in the audience around the world watching, hesitation is a dance partner of failure. Do not hesitate. Put your best foot forward and come on down and join the Coyote live and in the flesh.
Let's do it. All right. Well, that covers, for now, all the stuff that's going to be happening. So if we haven't convinced you to stop by and hang out with us, I'm not sure what else we could do, but just come here. Just come on. Let's go. All right. That being said, we already seen some questions coming in, and there was also some stuff that I had in the pocket to showcase. I'm sure Paul did as well. So we're going to go ahead and switch on over to ZBrush. Paul, do you want to take the first question since you're late to the show?
What's the first question?
Well, that's a great question. The first question was about
Smelly come lately is going to take the first one. Aren't we blessed to have you here? Wait till I get my mitts, my paws on you inside that green screen hang. I want to shout out again to the fans. Casey Forster popping up in here yet again. I see you, Casey.
Yep. I actually remember the first question, and it was I don't know if I can highlight it, but the first question, it was by Elamino. Thank you, sir. And it was about,
he says he dusted off his Street Fighter. He says he just dusted off his Street Fighter 2 game with his SNES Classic.
Let's go.
Are you talking about any news about the ZBrush hard surface setting?
Yes, absolutely.
So Alamino, you're referring to what are the best settings to use when you're doing hard surface? I would assume is what you're bringing up. So I can show you what I tend to use when I do hard surfacing with ZBrush itself. There's some real nice techniques I use, and also it's going to depend about the model that you're sending in, right? So are you using a Dynamesh? You have something that's clean, that's all triangulated. What kind of mesh do you have that are you giving it? So if Roadrunner wants to let me share my screen, I will share the screen. Let me just clear the light.
Listen, it's as they say, man.
Share the
Don't
screen.
bore us, get to
My
the
screen,
chorus.
too.
You know what I'm saying? Don't bore us, get to the chorus. Figure your stuff out to you.
You gotta share a screen for me to share. There you go. There you go. Boop.
Oh, I share. I'm always
Beep
sharing.
beep. Let's do it.
Couple of Jezebels.
All right. So I would just really quickly, just visually to get a better understanding of this. All right. So let's look at this. Let's say you're using something like the clip brushes. Okay. And you're starting to clipping things like this. All right. And then we're going to go with the Dynamesh route right now. Okay. So you're going to have a Dynamesh. So one thing I would do if I was using this brush, especially if I'm in the competition, it's all about saving yourself as much time as possible down the pipeline and down the road, so you can stay focused on your work and the sculpting part and less on the technical thing. Number one, I would turn this on right here. I would turn on the poly group. So I'm holding down Control and Space Bar. This is also found in the brush palette right here. Clip brush modifiers is also where it's found. So you can see right there I have poly grouping on. This way, when I go and make a clip, it creates a new poly group. Now, if you were Dynameshing, like what just happened to me, and like this, and you see how it's blue, but then when I re-Dynamesh, it's gone. Here, I'm going to turn off my lines right now, so we're just looking at colors. There's a reason why this is happening. And for 1 million Starbucks, which means nothing actually at all, does anybody know why that's happening? Not you, Coyote. I wasn't asking you. Just you go ahead and mute yourself for at least the next rest of the stream. Thanks.
I'm not saying I'm not giving any tips and tricks away to anybody. You got to check yourself and check your mind. I'm not giving one cotton picking tip or trick.
The reason why this is happening is because poly paint is on. So when you guys are using Dynamesh, it can save one or the other. It can't do both. It can't save poly grouping and poly painting. So if you turn this off and you're re-Dynameshing, you see the poly groups are maintained. They're good to go. So you need to make sure you pay attention to these little things. This is kind of why we're doing this stream, so you guys can start really thinking about how you want to start attacking your model. So this would be the first thing I would do for hard surface. I would look at this in different ways, and I would be using the poly grouping to drive the remesh for me.
Let me ask you a question.
Anything you're doing hard surface, the poly grouping is going to be one of your most important items.
Let me ask you a question.
You go ahead, fire away.
This is important because out there's a little villain or a little wannabe villain, and I'd like to see that villain come up. What do you think is the best resolution to be working at with this thing right here?
I think your best resolution, especially for a contest like this, your best resolution is going to be whatever works for your final frame. Like, so if this is my final frame, this is a good enough resolution. Even though we move up close, you can see it's not clean, perfectly clean in certain areas because there's just not enough.
You're talking about the framing of the camera.
So this, I say this is good enough. If this piece is going to be about this big on the screen when you're done,
right,
then that's it. Don't worry about it. You're good. Resolution's good.
That's it. Yep, absolutely. Also, too, you guys could use the knife brush, which also creates new poly groups on the fly. So that way, while you're using Dynamesh, yes, that's going to go ahead and it's going to create a watertight mesh and make things super solid. But at the same time, too, if you wanted to keep poly paint, then using the knife brush automatically does poly groups for you. So that's another tool you can use in your arsenal when you're going through.
What's up, Mr. Brohoven's in here, eh, my man?
You know why I like the knife brush, Ian Robinson? You know why I like the knife? Sharp, just like me.
That's it. Okay. And a little tip with the knife brush, real quick, and then Paul, I'll let you have it again. Don't worry, buddy. Is that if some of you, because I've mentioned this before in my streams as well, if you are somebody who's like pushing a lot of mesh and you start having collided normals and stuff like that, and you're Dynameshing, you want to use the knife brush, when in doubt too, always check your mesh integrity, because the more flip normals and stuff that are happening on the mesh, the more chances are that the knife brush fails, right? So what you could do is go to geometry, and then you could go on down to mesh integrity, and then you can go ahead and do a check and fix your mesh, which will remove all of those troublesome little components that call out. And if it's clean mesh, it will tell you nothing's wrong with it. But if it's bad and you're like me and it'll say you got 1,563 flip faces, maybe fix that mesh before utilizing that tool. So that's also another little tip. But with a knife brush,
plugging in that ZBrush right there. What about using that ZBrush with them groups on?
Oh, I love using that. Go ahead, Paul. Anyway, go ahead. Continue.
So when you're doing this, okay, you got to think about for example, the Dynamesh, you can see it's not clean here. It's not clean there, right? So your goal is you're trying to cut out of this with ZBrush and just get a nice piece that's perfect for a hard surface for you. So this is one little extra little tip for you. If you go to deformation, and in this case, we're going to look at polish by groups, i.e. the groups are for polishing your polygroups. And then over here, I'm going to see this little circle here. I'm going to open it. So it's just a lot stronger. So it polishes the whole mesh. And so when I go ahead and do this once, you can see how clean you start to get right there. Okay, so you get a nice clean results there. You guys can also do that if you want to just go in a certain area, like right here, you just want to locally. Okay, that's a global setting. You guys, while you're holding the shift key, you can go to your brush palette, go in your smooth brush modifiers here again, and there's a slider right here where you guys have another 9 brushes for smoothing. I personally like number 9 here, which is the one that I'm going to use, which is your groups intersection. And so now you can come in here and you can see I can do the same thing, but now I'm just doing it where I want it to actually.
You need to stop for 1 second right there. Do you have any idea how many people around the world have no idea what you just said? You need to show that one more time for those people at home, because that right there is worth all his money in the gold in the world. Where have you gone to? What's that menu? Brush?
So you're going to go to brush.
That's right. Slow right down.
Brush modifiers, and you're going to go to weighted smooth brush. Here, let me change this because the graphic is in the way. There you go. Make sure you're holding the shift key, right? Because you want this to be done to the smoothing brush. That's what you want to be done.
That's right.
Okay. Yep. And so in essence, you guys can do it either way, whatever way it works for you. There you go. That's maybe what I want. You can say, okay, now at the bottom, I want it to actually have its own polygroup on the bottom as well, right? Maybe you want to clean this polygroup up here and this polygroup up here if you wanted to. And then now I've got polygroups wherever I want them to have the polygrouping. So I'm going to polish them real quick. That just becomes more hard surface. And you can keep doing this over again. And it'll keep, you can see it'll keep changing, right? And then now for your ZRemesher question, go to ZRemesher, turn on the keep groups. And then now I'm going to do symmetrical and then just remesh it. And then there, done.
Yep.
And then you see how good your remesh is. And see, I didn't even lose any of my harsh lines. This is why you want to polish it first before you send it, because you're going to get even a better result.
Right. Yep. You're setting up the direction of those groups is what you're doing, and then the thing has a better chance of keeping it adhering to that flow. Edge flow. I know
100,000%. Absolutely.
So also, Alan, your question number 2, is it the same as groups border? No. 6 and 9 do have a little bit of different algorithms. They both are smoothing based upon polygrouping, but there's going to be certain scenarios that number 6 will not work, and you would have to use number 9, especially when you start having a lot of polygroupings. Let's say if you got like a cross of polygroups. You know, if you had something a little bit more, let's go like this. Let's even do a B radius. Let's do a slicing now, slicing curve. Let's start doing stuff like, especially when you start doing things like this, right? Where you start getting a lot more polygroups intersecting like that. This is where the number 9 is probably going to be the better result for you than using the other option of this weighted weight, which is what you're bringing up, number 6 border. FYI, if you guys can't remember this, you guys can use anything that ships with ZBrush. So that includes obviously any brush here in the Lightbox. So in the brush section here of Lightbox, okay, comma.
Don't do that. You'll get us canceled.
You're never going to forget it. You're never going to get it.
Never, ever.
Never, ever. Never. So you got another song on my head. Never going to get it. Never going to get it. No. Okay, so smooth right here. You got a whole folder. And you guys have all those brushes. Most of them are just sitting right here. And there's even 2 other ones right here that you guys could go and smooth peaks and smooth valleys, which is amazing to use as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We got another question real quick. Education version is allowed, correct? Yes. Any valid version of ZBrush, any valid version of ZBrush is accepted.
Say it one more time. Valid. Even the Coyote can't condone. Even the Coyote will not condone a pirated version of the software. Watch out.
It's one of the rules. It's one of the rules. You got to have a legit license in order to actually have a chance to win the prizes.
Yep, 1000%. All right, Paul, got another question coming at you hot, quick, and in a hurry, as the Roadrunner does. Beep, beep. What if someone just started painting on a high-res plane, as ZBrush is also a used for by 2D artists. I wanted to know what kind of, if SpongeBob had a little bit more clarification, but wanted to ask that question as well.
Okay, so what if someone just started painting in a high-res plane? As ZBrush is also used by 2D.
So what if they painted a whole portrait on a plane in ZBrush? Yep. I think that's the question. But if SpongeBob, you got a
elaborate? Are you asking?
Let me step in on this. Hang on a minute. Just a minute.
Go ahead.
Inside the rules, let me tell you how it's going to go. There's going to be a rubric that is used to evaluate the contestants' pieces, and the judges will evaluate that. Now, I'm going to come forth and tell you right now that one of the evaluation points is going to be, does the sculpture demonstrate a complexity and a use of the application and the features inside the software to the best of its ability? So that's going to say that immediately should nullify that type of intention. I like what you're throwing down, and at the same time, right? Does it adhere to the construct of being in keeping with a digital sculpting contest? And in that case, the answer would be emphatically no, as related to the other pieces in the sculpting contest. I'll be the villain.
Oh, you be the villain, don't worry.
As I said at the top of the hour, the villain is thrilling.
Sculpt me a, take Earthquake and bas relief him on a coin, and then paint, and then start. No, I'm just kidding. But do a coin. You could do a coin too. You could work with. You have 2.5D space, so I would definitely include some sculpture, as it is a sculpt contest. Some sculpture elements. I
would compound that again, and I'm going to be very serious right now. I would say yes, you could use it that way to do that, and at the same time, remember that rubric. We'll probably go out in our way and put that rubric, make it public, so people are very clear about what the parameters are going to be. Because I think at this point it would beg the question: this is a sculpting contest. That's a very astute question, and at the same time, does the piece demonstrate a complex use of the application? Does it demonstrate complex design elements? Does it take the piece and the prompt, and does it take the prompt and expand upon it in a sculptural way? I would be forewarned now ahead of time.
Yep, it is a Sculpt-Off, so bring your sculpting game. All right, Paul, what are you doing, buddy?
Bringing in the sculpt. I'm bringing the sculpt.
Bringing the sculpt.
I figured I would just go because my favorite character, for those that joined the last stream, right? The Berserker is my favorite character on the list that you all get to choose from. So my mind is like thinking about how would I go about approaching this, right? So for example, for me, I see a Berserker, a little bit of cross between maybe living in Finland or even Iceland, something like that, or medieval, even before medieval time-ish, or even before that, I'd even say Viking time. Okay. So I would want to go, I want to make some kind of cape, but I wanted to obviously look like it's made of fur, something like that. So I want to show a little thing that I like to do to kind of just get that off and get that. And again, it's all about, if I understand some of the features a little bit, I can get the things done really fast and then move on. And that way you can get a more detailed finished piece for you in those 3 hours, and then move to other parts that maybe, I don't need to take so much time to do.
Is that what you're doing right now? You're putting a piece of fur on there?
I'm going to put like a little cape pelt thing here on him. So
let me tell you something.
I'm just first setting up.
While you set that up, let me give the people a history lesson. Did you know that in and around the time of 1000 AD that the Romans, about 1000 AD, that the Vikings made their way to southern Italy and were the muscle for the local magistrates?
Now everybody knows.
Now they do. Everybody who's here.
That's why I get these beautiful locks.
It's beautiful.
The original bad boys, the original muscle, the Vikings come down all the way to southern Italy and extrapolate those.
Yep. Okay. And SpongeBob, yes, to answer your question, ZBrush did start as a painting tool. Yes, that's its background. 2.5D painting with depth.
Right. So I'm going to use some dynamics here.
That's the depth right there, Robinson.
I use some dynamics. So I'm just going to tell it now. I want this little thing I'm making here to just drape a little bit to you. So I'm going to tell it to look at the collision volume. And then now that I have that, I'm going to tell it to run the simulations. And you can see, click and stop, I get it kind of starting to wrap to him and what I'm looking for. I would recommend when you're doing this to at least turn on dynamic subdiv so you can look at it smooth. I also personally, I'm using the shortcut to turn it on and off. So I don't usually hit the button. So I'm using Shift D and D. Dynamite to turn it on and off. Okay. And then I want to see a little thickness while I'm doing this. I'm going to give it some thickness in here, which gives me I can look around and see really how this would be sitting. I also don't like how far off the shoulders it's sitting right now for me. So I'm going to come back on my dynamics, and what's controlling that is inflate. So I'm going to drop that way down. I'm going to put that at 0.1. That reassess and does it. So now if I click run simulation, you see it pretty much is sitting on him now, right? So I'm going to say that's good enough. And then I'm going to mask off the front parts here because this is good. And I mean, I think that's good right there as well. We'll go a little bit more in there. Then I'm going to switch my brush. Okay, I'm going to go brush.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. How did you blur that mask?
Control and tapping on the mask will blur your mask. Then I'm going to B for brush, T for transpose, and I'm going to switch to the transpose cloth. Just make sure you're remembering this, right? Because if you forget, obviously, this one is now looking at dynamics.
That's why you
so
practice.
I can start.
That's why you practice.
Start playing with this. So just keep in mind when you guys switch to this, then it's always going to do stuff like this to your model, right? It's going to look at it more dynamic.
Look how
dynamic.
I love how cute and tiny that is. That's adorable.
Listen, you know
that would be the word you used to describe it. Cute.
I mean, it's awesome. It's fitting, and I love it. It's perfect.
Okay. It's a little cape.
Yeah.
I'm going more for like, you know, like a...
This thing writes itself. You got the original here with a couple of faces right here.
Okay. Maybe turn it into a T, so maybe you could do a little slicing. We don't need V radius. You know, do a little something like this maybe. Since Ian's being an art director right now.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, and then you know what? Here's a great example of I would probably keep these poly groups like this, and then I would probably now remesh this. I would do the keep groups.
That's right.
And remesh that. So I can use those, and really the only one I care about now is that. Right, so I have that. I can delete that. We're back to having dynamics on, so it looks like this, so you can really see what you're doing. Okay, but I don't really need dynamics anymore, right? Because what I'm going to do now is the fur parts that I like to do, and old school, back in the day, I'm going to come back up to here near the top, and I'm going to go into our old tool, fiber mesh.
Now look at that.
Look
at this. Look at this.
I'm going to
just like this fur boa around my neck. You get in there and get that fur.
Yes.
Okay. So there you go. Okay. You're starting to get some fur going off it like this. Here's some little tips real quick for you. Okay. Fiber mesh by default. This is another reason why some people ask about why certain things are on and off in ZBrush. This is a reason why one of these buttons people constantly ask me, why is this not on by default? Because when you're scoping in the mode, you're like, okay, why isn't this just off? And what I'm going to be talking about is the display properties double. This is one of the reasons why this is off. There's multiple reasons why it just makes sense for this to be off. This is off by, for example, if you were to turn this on and make fiber mesh, you're actually going to make fibers both directions now. So I'm not only going to get fibers going out, I'm going to get fibers going in. So I'm making a bunch of useless fibers. So ZBrush, if you turn the double on, it's then going to pay attention to this when you go to make the fibers originally. It's going to look at that and make the fibers go both directions. That's clearly, I don't want that. So why make those wasted? So this would be one example why it's good that double is off. I'm also bringing it up just in case you guys have had double on your model that you're using. Go turn it off if you're going to use some fiber mesh. All right. Now, this is giving me obviously fibers where I want them. However, let's say I want more stylized look because that's what I'm looking for. Right. So I'm going to come back into here and I'm going to say, let's go with way fewer fibers. Let's go a little something more like this.
All right.
Let's make the length be a little bit more just for fun.
You know, we're all about the length right here.
Oh boy, the length. The twisting, I'm going to turn off right now. I don't want any twisting.
No curly hair.
I'm going to make the coverage really big. See, and you can see I'm starting to get a little bit more of a unique looking fibers here now. Okay, so I'm kind of liking that. I can even have variations of the length. I can use this graph if I want to. Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, we got some coverage. The one big thing now I'm going to do is I'm going to come all the way down here, right? And these right here are very important to me. So my segments are in essence, how many polygons per fiber am I doing? So I'm doing 3. I'm going to do a little bit more. Let's go maybe 7. So it's going to fall now a little bit more because I got gravity engaged. So it's going to fall down. a little bit more. And the big one here is my profile. I'm going to make this be something more like this number. And then now I've actually got them being kind of like cylinders that are.
What was that number? What do you got there?
Number 6. I put 6. So now what's happening is we're doing, instead of just a flat faces for your fiber meshes, we're doing a cylinder that's 6 faces that are coming off to be your fibers. And then I've got it tapering right now because the tip, this right here, is set. So see, if I start changing this, I can change my taper. So this is an example for us to start having some fun with this. And then because I'm playing with this coverage, I can also just use this to play. You can see, make just something completely different that's very stylized looking, and it's going to look like, you know, like thicker hair. Like, what if this is bison hair from a bison, right? Or some other kind of really big other animal that has thicker hair, right? And not something so skinny and thin. Okay? So this is just a little trick I want to show, because if I was making the Berserker, this is the kind of thing I'd be going for, because then obviously I would start giving it some brown tone in here, a lot darker.
And it's fast and easy. Fast,
super fast. Yep, absolutely. I got one too. I know we only have so much time. I got a tip too that I think would be really good. So I'm going to share my screen as well.
Fast and easy, like a Saturday night with the coyote. Here we go.
That's it. That's it.
Don't forget, I can keep adjusting this, people, because the only thing I'm adjusting is a plane. It's the only thing that's being adjusted is a plane.
What we got here?
Hey. All right. So, can you guys see my screen? Is it up?
Leonardo.
All right. Perfect. Yeah. So one of the things.
Where's the shredder, man?
Not quite there yet. One of the things I was thinking about too, looking at the different characters, is the different types of clothing you might want to put on your character. And one of the things that you may want to do is put some sort of wrapping or bandages around the arm of your character, so that you can give it like a little bit of a backstory. Maybe their arm is hurt, maybe they had scars or something like that. So I wanted to quickly go through how I went about doing these, because again, you don't need to be zoomed all the way in and see how it's exactly wrapping. What you need is just the ability to tell the story and get something on paper pretty quickly. So let's actually do this. I'm going to open up one of these subtool version folders, number 4, which, if you don't know, right now by default under the subtool, we're on V1. And what this is going to do is this is your visibility set. So as I'm scrubbing through, I can see my entire character in this visibility set. Everything is turned on all the folders. If I go to visibility, let's say 4 or 2 or 3 or whatnot, I've been using a few of these. You can see now that everything is turned off, and the only thing that's visible is what I have currently selected. So this is a really great way to come through and kind of quickly, you know, instead of hitting solo for every one thing, you can actually show a couple things, like maybe I just want to show the eyes here, whatever. And then now I can work on this. And then when I need to showcase everything, I go back to visibility set 1, and I can switch back to that visibility set at any time. It really just helps with organization, especially for something like this. So now I want to dress this character with some bandages. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate. Now, I like to duplicate when I do stuff like this, because we're going to be using polygroups to go ahead and, you know, create our design. So here you can see my character is already built out with polygroups. Well, let's say we absolutely have none on there. So I'm going to Control Shift and D, or Command Shift D if you're on Mac. And I'm just going to go ahead and quickly, you know, assume we have just one polygroup. Control W changes your polygroups for you. So this is all we have right now to work with, because we're working fast. And we're not going to have any type of subdivisions on this, because maybe we're working on Dynamesh. So the way I approach this is actually going to go ahead and work with the slice curve. And so what I did was I want some bandages here on the elbow. So all I did through here is actually come on in here and actually start slicing just a slight variations. I make a single group, which gives me a new polygroup. And then I'm going to come through here, give me maybe a little bit of an angular visualization, you know, just kind of angle that a little bit. And I'm just going to come through quickly and just, you know, make a couple different cuts. And you can do this however you think was, you know, works out best for you. You could change the angle a bit, just give you something that might make sense. You can even come across like this if you wanted to show a little bit of difference. Although what I would say is, if you're trying to do this pretty quickly, you know, the tighter the corners are for when you're getting your your polygroups intersecting, ZRemesher and itself like that. You don't want to spend all day ZRemeshing, so you can always manipulate these by hands too. So you have something like this, which is pretty good. So now I'm just going to isolate all of these things. Now you saw that I did that manually, right? And that may not be an approach you would actually want to take here. So again, you can always just come through and quickly select the areas that you want and then Control-Shift-Tap the other aspects. So I'm Control-Shifting, selecting this area, Control-Shift-Tap, and just hide. So that's just a faster way to get through that. Now that I have this here, I'm going to go ahead and go to Geometry, Modify Topology, and I'm going to go ahead and delete Hidden. And now you can see here my topology is not super clean, and I need this to be just a little bit cleaner. And again, we want to work quick, fast, and in a hurry. So for me, the secret sauce of ZRemesher boils down to a couple key settings. First setting here is I'm going to turn on Keep Groups. I'm going to turn that down to 0 on the smooth groups. So usually it's set to, I think it's usually set to 1. I set it to 0. And then from here, I'm just going to pick something that's a quick target poly. Target polys, again, are in thousands. So I'm going to say something like 2,000, because my current mesh is about 6 to 7,000. And then I keep adaptive turned on, but I turn this down to 0 to try to keep the quad as even as possible. And then I go ahead and I just hit ZRemesher. And now I get something like this. Now, if you're working really fast, this might be good enough, because now all I can do is come through here with ZModeler, press and hold the space bar over hovering over a face and then saying Q mesh. And then I just start dragging this out a little bit and then maybe make a couple adjustments, say something, tap the Alt a couple times just to give me a little bit of thickness. And from here, this is just a really quick way to come through and get something that looks pretty decent. So now if I come back on, I turn my character back on and I zoom all the way out, my character has wraps. So that is one way that you can go about doing that. However, if you do want your mesh to be a little bit cleaner because you don't want any weird faceting happening, there is a feature that's really, really cool that I see a lot of people ignoring, which is ZRemesher guides. And ZRemesher guides will help guide the edge loops around the object so that you can get a cleaner mesh. So I can say, you know what? Let me drag across this area right here.
Just a second, Robinson. I got a hot tip for you.
Sure.
You know that the Coyote likes to do things a sneaky backdoor way. Go ahead and press that 7 hotkey. Boop. Oh, there you go.
Look at that. Yes. Yes. Framing all your polygroups. Boop. But again, come across this area right here. Boom. Look at that. Cleaned that section up for me. You can even say same so that you're keeping the same resolution. And this is how you can just quickly come through and get all this up. You can even adjust the curve strength a little bit to give you something a little bit more of what you would want. But what I would say is, don't fight it all day long. In this competition, close enough is good enough. So just be able to come through here and again, hit your ZRemesher or hit your ZModeler, come in, Alt Tab, and get that stuff coming. Also, real quick, while we're on the topic of ZModeler, for those of you who don't know, if you're dragging out something and you're like, yeah, I want to edge loop there, but I need to make that thicker, and you want to repeat that action, and you don't want to have to redraw it, just tap on that section again, and it repeats that draw out. So I can actually come through here and draw this out, maybe say something like this, repeat that one. But see, it's also doing it to the polygroup. So this is where Alt key comes in really handy, because then I wanted to just repeat to that section, maybe come in, have that snap there, come in. This way I get something that I want. And this is just a quick way to give me something that looks like wrap. And then just like Paul had mentioned, dynamic subdivision is your best friend. So turning that on, give it a little bit of smoothing, and then you can go ahead and adjust and start sculpting on your mesh. So these are, you can inflate that. You can even do a fun little control inflate on the gizmo if you wanted that to come through. So just a fast way. Again, we're going to be looking at an overall render. Nobody's going to be zooming in and saying, hey, that doesn't look right. Just get it on there, make it look so it's what you're going for. So quick wraps in ZBrush, because I know my character would have a ton of that.
I heard just about enough now. That's just about enough for me.
Did you? You hear enough? Because Paul and I could go all day.
I'm sure you could. I have sat still long enough listening to this. Listen, the big message right here is to tell the people, make sure you sign up, give yourself that space and grace and that time to practice. As you can see, the fellows, as much as it pains me to say, they have provided you with some fantastic information today. The Roadrunner himself, Ian Robinson, and the garbage man, Paul Gabry, and myself, the Coyote. We're trying to get you across that finish line. You choose. It's up to you. You want to be a heel? Villain is thrilling, like I say, or you could be a face. But the most important thing is to get up on there, sign up, and have the courage to participate. Any last words before I drop this mic and walk off, go off into the sunset, and do my coyote business on the Hollywood Boulevard?
You know, what I would like to say is, if you're still on the fence about about joining the Sculpt-Off, let me tell you something. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. It's great experience coming in and seeing what you can do in 3 hours. It's great experience to see how other artists are doing it. So even if you're not sculpting, go in and watch, because you can see a lot of really cool stuff that happens, and artists approach things very differently. One of the reasons why I love ZBrush so much is that I could do things 5 different ways and get similar results. I can make, like we had a comment here talking about using B-rays to slice up for those brush size too. Absolutely. There's so many things you can do in ZBrush to get you there quick, fast, and in a hurry. So come see it. I encourage you, come participate, because again, you have everything to gain and nothing to lose from that. And if you win, well, then you got a lot more to gain, which is always fun. So that's what I want to say. If you're on the fence, sign up anyway. Just do it. Do yourself a favor, sign up, and I'd love to see you there.
John, did you see my answer for your fiber mesh question? So you can export your fiber mesh as geometry or actual curves themselves, guides. So can you show my screen real quick?
Absolutely, sure can.
There you go. Okay. So the question was asking, how do you export these? So right now, these don't exist yet. They're in a preview mode. So if you hit accept right here, it'll create real topology. And then that will be topology you're getting out. But it'll obviously be a little bit more dense. So for your question, you were asking about animation, down the line here, there's export curves. And then you can export the curves. And then it'll be guided curves. And then you have an OBJ, a Maya file, Lightwave, Moto file, and then an FMG file. And that's how you could export them, bring them in another application for the purpose of animating, since you were asking.
What about a CWO file?
Coyote
World Order. That's it. I'm done. See you online.
Go sign up. Go do it. All right. Well,
any other last minute questions from anybody online?
Yeah, going once, going twice. All right. Very cool. There we go. Well, thank you guys very much. Again, we wanted to just have a nice little live stream to showcase what was going on, give you some tips, and also to update you on those presentations. So if you missed what was happening there, please go to ZBrushSummit.com. Kyle in the background, thank you for dropping all those links. And also to the link you just shared. If you want a free t-shirt, all you have to do is pay for shipping and then show up with that t-shirt at the ZBrush Summit. Go ahead and click that link. Get your free t-shirt. It's being a part of the community and a creative here. We just appreciate you so much. And that is it. I hope to see you in the Sculpt-Off. We'll see you.
And we got another stream too on the 15th.
We do. That's right. Thank you, Paul. Yep. Absolutely. Actually,
I'm just getting the garbage.
Well, no, that's good, because you know what? I'm not going to be there because I'm going to be doing a presentation. Am I going to? No, I'm not going to be there. I got a presentation I'm doing elsewhere. So you guys are going to have to live without me. I'm so sorry.
We're going to miss the Roadrunner.
Yeah. Yep. Beep, beep. All right, guys. That is it. Take care. Happy Friday. Enjoy the weekend, the long weekend if you're in the States, and we'll catch you next time. Bye. Beep, beep, beep.